G'day YouTubers, and welcome to the final episode for 2021. I had hoped to go out with a bang and do a great offshore trip for the final episode like I did last year, but the weather's not going to permit that, so I'm doing this DIY video on installing a switch panel in my boat so that I can turn off some of the things that I didn't really think I did need to turn off, but now find that I wanted it from time to time. So anyway, I hope you get something out of it. Just shows how easy it is to do these sort of jobs yourself. Let's roll it. Right, I'm making a few changes to the electrical system in my boat. I have some units that are powered on all the time once I turn the master switch on, like the sounders are always powered on, the MFDs. The reasoning there was that I want the anchor alarm on when I'm anchored, and I want the chart plotter on when I'm running around, so I didn't see any reason for them not to be on all the time. However, I have come across some circumstances where I would have preferred that they didn't draw standby power even if I had them turned off at the unit. So I've decided that I'll put at least the Hummingbird on a switch. The autopilot was the same deal. I figured it wouldn't use much power while I wasn't running around using it because the pump wouldn't be active, and the little bit that the computer drew would be negligible. There's the Hummingbird switch, which is only used when the Minn Kota is running or when the engine is running. Again, I figured it wouldn't draw that much. Well, add them all up and it does draw a bit. Plus I want a switch to turn the power on and off for an electric reel. So that's 4 switches I need. So I've decided to put in another switch panel. I'm going to mount it up under the gunnels where it's out of the way because I don't expect I'll need to use it much. While I'm at it, I'm going to add a few extras in, leave room for at least one more switch and run it into a fuse box so I can turn multiple things on and off and have them fused if I decide I need it. I'm not going to wire that up just yet, I'm just going to make room for it in the whole layout, and I've got this cute looking wave switch panel. I've got a box here to mount it all on, so that's what I'm going to do now. Yes, very thick. There we go. That's those 4 done. Got to drill 4 for the screws to hold it in. That's it. Now I've just got to cut out that piece. In the finish I decided to cut it out with a jigsaw. The Dremel would have had too fine a blade and would have melted the plastic too much. And as you might be able to see in the video there, the plastic has been melted just by the jigsaw, which had a much coarser blade, but it wasn't that bad. It didn't set hard enough that I couldn't just push it out when I finished. So I'll just get a file and trim that up a little bit. I've got one here. Now that is going to mount in there like that. I'm not sure what went wrong with the camera here. The video is present, but I can't decode it and use it, so something malfunctioned in the camera, I guess. I'll give this coat of clear varnish now, the fire that is, just to seal it, because although it won't be getting directly splashed with water, I hope, it will be in a moisture-rich environment, so I always seal any wood that goes into the boat. I'll let that dry, maybe give it 2 coats over the next couple of days, and then I can finish putting this together and glue it into the bait. Switch panels attached to the box that I got to mount it on, or the lid of the box actually. The box itself was too big, so the bottom's a spare, I can use it for something else. The lid of the box is large enough to let the switches inside and the circuit breakers all sit above the board. And I have these two terminal posts ready to accept the main power from the batteries. Screw the nut down so we won't lose it. Oh, idiot, before I do that I've got to heat shrink those things. Now, I know I use a gas lighter a lot of the time when I'm in the bait, but this is the proper way to do it with a proper heat gun. Right, that's got it. And that's all there is to that. I've got a wire connected here to one of these solder joints, shrink wrap solder joints. I'm using this PVC pipe to protect the other wires from the heat, and I'm going to see if I can get that together. Yeah, okay, well PVC got plenty hot. Put him down there to cool off and he'll be ready for the next one. Let that cool and then I'll measure the resistance, make sure that that's solder up all right. Should do with that amount of heat on it. That's my 15 amp switch and that's for the autopilot. Just got to check and see that this actually went on properly. Should have done. Take the trusty old multimeter out and just make sure we have a circuit where we need to. I made absolutely certain to test all my circuits before I put this in the bait, because once it was in the bait it was in a very awkward position and I didn't want to have to do any more work on it to fix any circuits that weren't 100%. So if you don't know how to use a multimeter, do learn. They're an invaluable tool and they're not very dear. I'm just joining on the GPS and the Hummingbird switch wires, and because the Hummingbird switch wires are so thin and GPS wires are pretty thin too comparatively, I've tried duct taping these to a piece of board and I'm going to heat shrink that on while it's duct taped to stop it moving. Because with those thin wires I think it's going to be a little bit hard to get this done. Hopefully the duct tape's not going to melt in the heat. I'll try and keep it concentrated and see how we go. The duct tape got more heat than I wanted it to, but we melted the solder, which is what I needed to do. Get this duct tape off. It's going to make a bit of a mess. Oh no, it came off better than I expected. Probably left sticky stuff behind, but yeah, okay, that worked pretty well. And is happy. I put a bit of heat shrink up here with the object of moving it down to cover this up. That came out pretty well, so it's probably not all that necessary. As soon as it's there, I'll put it on. Okay, that last one worked so well, I've got this other one set up the same way. There we go, so that solder melt. Let him sit there till he's all nice. Oh, we melted we melted this pretty good too. Oh, and we melted the heat shrink I was going to use. Okay, I might have cut that off and just let it go at that. I can put some liquid electrical tape on, if that's all I can do. That's the switch panel in there. that will stay on, all those switches stay on, except when I'm overnighting. Then I can turn them off. I can turn the autopilot off, the second GPS if I want to, and the networking for it all. So that should save a little bit of battery overnight if I'm a bit on the low side. Gives me a little bit more flexibility anyway. Very inaccessible, but it doesn't need to be accessible. As I said, I won't be using it very much. Wiring on a boat isn't hard to do. It just means attention to detail, using good quality wire and connections, and try to be as neat as you can. It's a little bit hard on a boat that you haven't worked on from the beginning. Someone else might have left you with a bird's nest, and it's hard to fix that unless you pull all the wiring out, and that's a huge job in itself, which I usually don't do. Anyway, that's it for the video, and I am sorry that I didn't get to go out for another offshore adventure just to finish the year off, but it is what it is. I hope you've had a great new year, and 2022 brings us some really good weather. Until when, good fishing.